Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Madam Secretary, for doing a wonderful job. And it's been a breath of fresh air. A lot of people like to talk about the border. I represent a large part of the border. The places that are on TV are the places that you have visited, the places that I represent, like Del Rio, like Eagle Pass, like El Paso, other places. And y'all have done a fantastic job. I want to start with VORTAC. VORTAC has been, when we talk about how do we go out and apprehend these hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of convicted criminal illegal aliens that are a threat to all our communities, VORTAC is always the answer. I recently met with them. They're based out of Fort Bliss. They're in El Paso. They're always the ones that go out and are doing the heavy lifting. If I'd love to put this on your radar. I know you're making a lot of budgetary decisions, and the administration is. That facility is way, way outdated. For the work that they do, they need a new facility. And I know it's on Fort Bliss. If there's a way that we can work either through this committee or through the Appropriations Committee to find a way to give them the proper housing, just the proper headquarters that they need, I think this would be very critical in going out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on VORTAC.
Yeah, I spent some time with them as well down at Fort Bliss, and they do incredible work, and they don't just operate within their own agency, but also partner with other law enforcement agencies and meet needs around the country at a moment's notice. So their skill set is unique. Their specialty training is needed, and in fact, it needs to be expanded. We could use more teams like they have and give them more opportunities to continue to serve, because the skill set they bring to the table keeps people safer and helps us meet the challenges with what we need to protect our officers out in the field and to make sure citizens are protected as well. So we'll certainly look at their facilities and see what we can do to strengthen the resources that they have.
Thank you for that. They're just doing incredible work. Once again, every time there's a problem solved, VORTAC has a role to play. Whether it's on the back, the intelligence piece to it, helping with some of these task forces, or actually going out and apprehending folks. On that note, Uvalde is in my district. We had a couple of years ago, we had one of the worst school shootings in history, certainly in Texas's history, and it was VORTAC that neutralized that shooter. And so I want to talk about school safety a little bit. You've got children, you've got grandchildren, I've got children. That's one thing that I think can bring us all together, is just the safety of our children. And one area that I think goes unlooked is the Secret Service's role. As I've dived into school safety, Secret Service is at the heart of a lot of these solutions. And nobody thinks it in that manner. I'd love to get your thoughts. When it comes to school safety, what role do you think the Secret Service is currently playing, or can it play in helping solve some of these problems?
Well, right now, Secret Service is underutilized, and they also are under-resourced. If you look through our reconciliation request and also fiscal year 26 budget request, there's additional dollars that are needed to really give Secret Service the tools, the training, and the resources that they need to meet every single situation that they're involved in right now. Obviously, they have the protectee units and agents that are out there on the ground protecting individuals, and the most powerful in the world, but also they have an investigative side that is a skill set that many other agencies like to tap into and ask them for insight into. So working to protect our kids are our future. They really are what America is going to be and is today for many, many years. So it's incredibly important that we use that skill set to give advice, wisdom, but also training to those individuals that secure our schools. The Department of Education has a partnership with us in how we train school security officers, but also how we go out and support local law enforcement to respond to situations like you experienced in your home district. It's a tragedy that we can be better equipped for and prepared for in the future, and making sure that we're taking care of people ahead of time.
That's it.
And addressing the concerns and the flags that happen before we end up in a situation like you experienced.
Yeah, I appreciate that response. And I'm really trying to get ahead of a problem, not wait for the problem to occur and then blame somebody else for why the problem was there. Let's just make sure our kids are safe as we harden schools, as we look for ideas to strengthen family units and do those different things. Once again, the Secret Service constantly continues to come up. So I look forward to working with you on that and other.
One thing I would say is, in the last several months, Secret Service recruitment has been up over 200%.
Amazing.
And under President Trump and the recruitment efforts that we've had for that agency, overwhelmingly, people want to be a part of their mission in the future.
You know, part of my schools, and I know I have just a little time, so part of my district, you know, the Guardian program where teachers are armed is what works for that community. Other communities, they don't want to have their teachers armed. That, in my eyes, that's for something for them to decide. But as far as a federal government response, I think the Secret Service can add to whatever local ideas they have. So I look forward to working with you on strengthening that and others. Thank you again, and I yield back, Chairman.